We're getting ready to start our next segment. We love that you guys are enjoying yourselves, meeting new people. We ask that if you want to have a conversation, you take it back to the cafe. If you want to listen to what's going on up here, please have a seat. Let's keep it quiet and let's stay respectful of our guests and speakers. Up next, we're talking about McKinney, Texas. We're continuing our McKinney Super segment. There are few places here in the state of Texas that are better to relocate than McKinney, Texas. And the reason I say that is because there are few places, not just in Texas, but anywhere else in the world, where you have people that are there and ready to take care of you and get you moved in and help you find the resources that you need to run a successful business. And McKinney does that. And I'm very happy to introduce Troy Billett, the Innovation Fund Manager for the McKinney Economic Development Corporation, to tell you guys about the McKinney Innovation Exchange. Everybody give a big round of applause for Troy. Let's go.
Thank you guys. So I'm really excited to tell you guys about how to access capital for your startup. And even if you're a service provider, even if you're a banker, no matter what you're doing in the innovation ecosystem, this is really critical information to know because startups can scale and grow if they have the capital to do so. So just a really quick reminder of McKinney. So we have 600 new residents moving in every single month. So we literally cannot build fast enough for the growth we're experiencing. We're talking about the #1 real estate market in the US right now. I'd also like to share that it's ranked best city in America, quality of life, startup momentum, but you guys heard from our CEO earlier. One thing I do want to point out about these bigger projects, the city of McKinney recently pulled almost $500 million in bonds in order to build infrastructure because they're willing to invest in themselves. They're willing to bet that the city's going to grow so fast that they need that infrastructure today, not tomorrow, not in a year, not in 10 years. So if you guys see this, we started the Innovation Fund back in 2020. I don't know any other city in the US that has an innovation fund providing grants for startups if they open an office in their city. That means we have over 50 companies in our portfolio already. These are all technology companies. But of course, we have a whole ecosystem for them. It's not just startups. This is Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here. On the right bottom, you have Dallas. On the left bottom, you have Fort Worth. But we're up on the northern part of the DFW Metroplex. And you can see on the left side that we have Raytheon, we have Globe Life, we have Simpson Strong-Tie, we have major corporations. See, we started as a neighborhood town, maybe even older than Dallas, but we started as a neighborhood town, and a lot of those CEOs, executives didn't want to commute all the way to Dallas. So they're like, let's just move my company here down the street. And that's why we ended up with some really, really great corporations here. So we're building on that momentum and trying to take a huge bet on innovation. So innovation founders, they need so much more than just capital. And so that's why we launched the 12 Pillars of Innovation, or the McKinney Innovation Exchange. And this includes the Innovation Fund, which you can see here under investments. We have grants, we have an innovation committee that helps decide which companies we invest in. But we also have a physical space, an exchange for people to come and share ideas. I'll explain more about that and what kind of VCs will be in that space, but we also have community. So we have meetups, we have a council of advisors to tap into expertise across industries. We also have the partnership. So we have a local partners, which we call the collective. We have an advantage, which is international partners. Events like Web Summit that are in Europe, so we can attract amazing companies from Europe. And then we have Now, which I think is probably the most valuable asset in our 12 Pillars of Innovation because it connects startups directly with city departments like police and fire and public works, but also local corporations like local banks or Raytheon or whatever it might be. Whoever could be great pilot customers for fast-growing innovative startups. So how do you qualify for the Innovation Fund? How do you unlock this capital? Well, you have to make a commitment to move your office to McKinney for at least 3 years. You also, of course, need to invest in at least 2 local employees when you do open that office. You need to have an MVP or a prototype, some kind of traction in the market. And last, we need to see some real traction over the last 12 months. Are you signing new pilots? Have you built something? Have you secured an early stage round of funding? Stuff like that. So I like to think of it as a staircase approach. So we start with a $50,000 to $200,000 grant. But if you continue to grow, then we can unlock a follow-on investment of up to $500K. And it even goes beyond that, because if you want to build a building, build a massive HQ, build manufacturing, we can also provide significantly more capital for investments like that. So it's really easy. You can go to our website, submit an application. It takes about 30 minutes. We'll have an intro session where you get to know more about the fund. Then we have due diligence. It's pretty sophisticated due diligence, so this can take some time, but we look at the different parts of your business to make sure we have a full understanding, but also to make sure that McKinney or the DFW Metroplex is a good place for you to build your company, because at the end of the day, it's more than just capital. So the timeline's like this: 30 minutes to apply, a couple months of due diligence, approval in 2 to 3 weeks through our investment committee or innovation committee. And then of course you set up your office. But once you see that approval letter from us, you have as long as you need. We're funded by public dollars, so we're gonna be there in a year, in 10 years. We're not worried about that. So whenever you're ready to open up that office, then we can, of course, issue the 50% of the grant. So if it's a $200K grant, that's $100K on day 1 of your office opening. Here's a couple of examples of companies in the portfolio. So we have Aloha. They moved to McKinney when they only had 5 people. Now they're over 100 people still in downtown McKinney. I believe last year they had about $20 million in revenue. We have Book.io. Mark Cuban invested early on, but I had some great news the other day. They told us that Snoop Dogg actually invested in their next round. We also have Duke AI, which is a special vertical software, but really great technical companies that chose to have their roots in McKinney or were founded in McKinney. So again, innovation partnerships. We have, of course, a plug-and-play accelerator program in our city. We have a fintech cohort and enterprise AI cohort. So anyone that's in our portfolio can access the resources that are in their accelerator programs. But we also have resources for workforce development, like strong partnerships with universities like SMU, UTD, TCU. We also have, of course, investor events. We have a list of over 50 VCs that we've done deals with in the past or worked with in the past, so we can make those catered introductions based on your industry and your stage. We also have our innovation space. We have strategic guidance from a variety of advisors that are either local or just care about McKinney. Maybe they grew up there or they are looking to move to Texas. And of course, the pilots. I think that's really key. Revenue always needs to be number 1 for a founder. And so if we can make those introductions one by one, we have an entire team dedicated to local business retention and expansion, and that's all they do. I mean, I talked to that team and they had over 100 meetings last year with local companies across McKinney because they can spend 100% of their time focused on McKinney companies. And that's just a complete, huge differentiator compared to other cities. So there's also, of course, the McKinney Chamber of Commerce. We include that in our grant. That membership allows you quick access to accessing so many people in the community. We also have Startup Science. This is especially useful for first-time founders because it gives you a foundation for how to build a company and scale that successfully. We also have Score Dallas, which does mentor matching, and of course these investor introductions, which I already talked about. We are not the only organization within the city of McKinney. So McKinney EDC, we focus on job creation, high quality office, great jobs. That's our priority. However, we also have the McKinney CDC, which focuses on quality of life. So they're funding parks, initiatives within the city, events, to get, what are you gonna do on the weekends? What are you gonna do on the evenings? And this really empowers the city to do more. We also have Visit McKinney. We have a historic downtown, which I told you is even older than Dallas, Texas. So it's a great experience. We also have downtown McKinney, which focuses more on that retail presence and those great restaurants we have right in downtown. Lastly, I would be remiss if I did not mention McKinney Airport is the third commercial airport of DFW, and they will be having commercial flights by the end of this year. So you can fly in or out of McKinney and access great locations across the US. Okay, so this is the innovation space. This space here is basically where the founders sit, and we're offering 3 months at a time. Founders can come and get to know the city. It's kind of like a soft landing for people to get to know the region a bit better, because maybe you decide you want to move to Texas, or you decide you want to move to Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, but where do you actually go? Where do you get that office? Where do you get that house? And this allows you to have a place to work from, feel comfortable, and understand the community a bit better. We have VCs that'll be more permanent in these private offices, and the space will actually be run day to day by Plug and Play, which has their own VC arm. Well, thank you guys so much. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer. But that's the McKinney Innovation Fund. I hope that you guys go to our website, apply to the fund, or at least share it with friends and founders that you know that are looking to build great technology companies. Thank you guys so much.